Please title your notes, literal equations. Literal equations. Today is October 9th. October 9th. Really good at solving equations. You know lots of tools and lots of tricks to help you solve equations. I'm going to throw a wrench in that today. Normally we only have one variable, right? We solve for that variable. Today we're going to have multiple variables. It's no big deal. We're still going to use the same thing we were doing before. You're just going to have to think about like terms. Let's talk about like terms. That's something we haven't spent a whole lot of time on. We will spend a lot more on. In order to be able to combine terms, they have to be what we call like terms. They have to have the same variable, and the variables have to have the same exponent. Have the same variable and the same exponent. I'm going to say variable parentheses x. That means it could be one variable or more than one variable. Have the same variables and the same exponents. Again, it could be exponents, it could be more than one exponent. They have to have the same variable, have to have the same exponent. Otherwise, we can't add and subtract them. Like terms, adding and subtracting, like terms. You can multiply or divide anything you want. It can be x and y, it can be a and z, it doesn't matter. You can multiply and divide anything you want. You just can't add and subtract unless they're like terms. We are going to follow, when we solve equations, we're still going to follow PEMDAS. Now remember, as you're solving an equation, we always work backwards from PEMDAS, don't we? We try to do our addition and subtraction first, and there's some exceptions to that rule, which we learned. And we're going to try, if we can, to do addition and subtraction first. Multiplication and division will go second. Alright, so let's just jump in here. Here's our first example. It says to solve 4m minus 3n equals 8. It then says for m, it's telling you what variable to solve for. They're going to have to tell you what variable to solve for. Otherwise, you're not going to know if they want you to solve for m or n. But in this case, it's m. So what I want you to do is take your pencil and let's put a box around that 4m. I want to get m by itself, correct? So I'm not even going to touch that term until the very end. That's going to be the last thing I worry about is that 4m. So you guys tell me, what do we do or what can we do to move minus 3n to the other side? Add 3n. Can't just add the 3. We have to take the entire term all together. We're going to add 3n to the other side. All right, so we're left with 4m equals 8 plus 3n. And it really doesn't matter. You could have said 3n plus 8. That's the same as 8 plus 3n, isn't it? That's that commutative property. Doesn't matter what order you add them in. All right, so now we're trying to get that m alone. Now we can do something to the 4. What can we do to get m alone? Hannah? No. What do you think, Blake? Divide. We're taking 4 times m, and we know division undoes multiplication, so we will divide everything by 4. Eight plus 3n, all divided by 4. Okay, what I'm going to show you next is not right, but I see a lot of people want to do it. they'll tell me that the answer is going to be 2 plus 3n. Why might somebody say the answer is 2 plus 3n? What do you think, Timmy?
They took 8 divided by 4.
Yeah, they took 8 divided by 4. But we're not just dividing the 8 by 4, are we? We're dividing that whole side. So we kind of left out the 3n. All right? We can't do that. Can't do that. If we're going to divide by something, we're going to have to do it to every single term in that numerator. There's nothing that we can divide by. So this is our answer. We're still solving equations the same way as before. We just have multiple variables. We're not going to get a number answer. It's going to be an expression that we're solving. All right, so this example, we have 15 equals 3n plus 6p. We're solving for n. Once again, it'll always tell you what variable to solve for, otherwise you wouldn't know. So let's put a box around that n, that 3n. Remember, that means we're not going to worry about that term. Let's save that for the end. So what other thing might I get rid of in this equation? Blake?
6p.
And how could we get rid of that?
Subtract it.
Good, subtract 6p. So we have 15 minus 6p equals 3n. Looks like we have one more step to get n alone. What could we do next? Elena? Good, divide by 3. Go ahead and flip around here. We have n equals 15 minus 6p, all divided by 3. Okay, now I'm going to have some people that are going to want to say the answer is 5 minus 2p. Is that okay? That is okay. Why is this okay to divide, whereas the other one I couldn't? I know why? See why? What do you think?
We're dividing both by 3.
Exactly. Both values in the numerator, 15 and negative 6, are both divisible by 3, right? That's okay. That's legal. We say legal math. You're able to do it. If you're able to simplify, I want you to do that. So my answer would be n equals 5 minus 2p. How about this one? A times the quantity of q minus 8 equals 23. We're solving for q. You might want to write this one down. This is a good one with the parentheses in there. For solving for q, we're going to have to get q out of the parenthesis, aren't we? We can't do anything until that happens. So how might I get q out of the parentheses, Timmy? Distribute. This would be an excellent time to distribute. Let's take a times q, which is a cubed. We'll write it in alphabetical order. A times negative 8 negative 8a equals 23. We're solving for q, so you might go ahead if you like and put a box around that q term. What would you do next? Add 8a. So we have AQ equals 23 plus 8a. Okay, we're solving for Q, so we have one more step to go. What could we do next? Savannah? Okay, divide by a. Okay, if I was to simplify and write this, is that the same thing? I did. I divided both by a, didn't I? Right here I have 23 divided by a. Right here at this term, I had 8a divided by a. But a divided by a is going to cancel out, right? So I'll be just left with 8. I would take this answer. I'm okay with that answer. If you can divide everything by a value, yes, you do need to simplify. I would also take this answer. Either one. Trying to show you lots of different possibilities, because there are lots of different potential problems that we're going to see. Write this next one down if you would, please. 28 equals t times the quantity r plus 4. What do you guys think? What would you do first? What? All right, let's start with that. Let's distribute. Let me write that. I'm going to write that in alphabetical order. Let's do RT. Does anybody see a potential problem? Elena? There's two T's. Gotta just pick one. Pick my favorite T. Nowhere. Pick the first one, pick the second one. Does it matter? Yeah, I want to solve for t, but I gotta know which t I need to solve for. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. Let's start over. Let's not distribute. And don't have to erase anything. Just start over. What's another option if we want to get t by itself? Timmy, what do you think?
Divide r plus 4.
Very good. We can divide by that quantity. You can divide by a quantity like that as long as there's parentheses around it, and we have it. So let's divide by r plus 4. And that is as far as you can go. You cannot simplify if you've got two terms in your denominator. I shouldn't say cannot. You will, most of the time, will not be able to simplify if there's two terms in the denominator. Guys, sometimes you're going to try a method in algebra, not just here, but you're going to try something and you're like, that just doesn't look right. I can't solve, for example, here we had two t's. Go back and try another way. There are so many ways to get to the same answer. Try something else if it's not looking right. If you don't think it looks right, try something else. It may be that your first choice was right, but you won't know that until you try some other ways. Let's do this one together. K minus 2 divided by 5 equals 11J. This is one of those special cases that we talked about where we can't do addition and subtraction first. The whole left side is included in a fraction. So adding and subtracting is not the best choice. Savannah, do you have a thought?
Multiply by 5.
Good. That's a good choice. I think I would multiply by 5 on both sides. So we have K minus 2 equals 55J. Now solve for K. What would you do next? Go ahead.
So divide by 2.
Oh, for K. Add 2. Can I take 55 plus 2? Say it's 57J. Why can't I add these two terms? Right, the variables are not like terms, so we'll just write that as 55J plus 2. One more with you. Let's skip a few of these. Let's do this one together. I know you don't have the actual word problem, but that's okay. I think you'll get the gist of the idea if you write it down with me. Yo-yos. Use the information about the largest yo-yo at the left. Well, we don't have a yo-yo at the left. The formula for the circumference of a circle is C equals 2 pi r squared. No, 2 pi r, sorry. Where C represents the circumference and r represents the radius. A. Solve the formula for r. Could you solve that formula for r? Yes, we could. What do we need to divide by? 2 and what else? 2 pi. You can divide by two things at once. That's totally legal. 2 pi. So we have r equals c divided by 2. Oh, r equals c divided by 2 pi. Letter B says find the radius of the yo-yo if the circumference is 15. I forgot that part. If the circumference find the radius of the yo-yo if the circumference is 15. We're going to use our equation right here. R equals c divided by 2 pi. Do I know my circumference? You betcha. What is our circumference? I just told you. 15. So in our calculator, we would take 15 divided by 2 times pi. 15 divided by the quantity 2 times 3.14. I'll just use 3.14 as pi. Approximately 2.39. This 8 right here is going to round that other 8 up to a 9. 2.39. 2.39. Does it say a unit? We'll just say units. Don't give us a specific unit of measure. Alright, I'm going to stop here for today. We are going to practice some of these problems with literal equations. I have an assignment. It's on a worksheet. Birthday today or this weekend? Who's your birthday? Alright, you want to do evens or odds?
Evens.
Okay, evens it is. Evens, and we are going to do numbers 19 and 20. I'm going to do both of the work on the bottom. Evens and 19 and 20. So you might want to put that on the top.